Once upon a time, in a quirky little village called Chuckleburg, there lived a cranky old man named Gus. Gus was the grumpiest guy around. His frown could scare clouds away, and his grumbling was louder than a rooster with a megaphone. The villagers adored him anyway, mostly because they found his tantrums hilarious. They'd pop by his creaky cottage to borrow sugar, ask for directions, or just to see what he'd complain about next. One sunny morning, a cheerful young woman named Polly, who ran the village's only donut shop, knocked on Gus's door. "Gus, why are you always so grumpy?" she asked, dodging a stray tomato he'd tossed at a pesky squirrel. "The sun's shining, the birds are singing, and I brought you a free sprinkled donut. Don't you ever smile?" Gus squinted at her, his bushy eyebrows doing a grumpy dance. "Smile? Why? Life's a mess, Polly. My socks never match. My toast always burns. And don't get me started on that squirrel who keeps stealing my acorns. Why would I smile when everything's a disaster?" Polly grinned, undeterred, and plopped down on his porch swing. "Gus, let me tell you a story about my great-aunt Giggles. She was the happiest person in Chuckleburg, even when life threw pies at her face." Gus rolled his eyes but leaned in, mostly because the donut smelled amazing. "When I was a kid," Polly began, "and Giggles ran a lemonade stand. One day, a whole herd of goats broke loose and drank every drop of her lemonade. Then they ate her favorite straw hat. The whole village thought she'd lose it. I mean, who wouldn't cry over a hat that fabulous? But Aunt Giggles just laughed so hard she snorted, grabbed a bucket, and started selling goat slobbered lemonade at double the price. She made a fortune that day." Gus snorted, almost dropping his donut. "That's ridiculous. What's so funny about goats eating your hat?" Polly winked. "Aunt Giggles said life's like a bad haircut, sometimes it's awful, but you can still make it work with a good hat, or a laugh." After the goat fiasco, she realized being grumpy was like wearing itchy underwear. It just makes everything worse. So, she decided to find something funny in every disaster. Gus scratched his head, his frown wavering. "Find something funny? Like what?" "When my roof leaks, or when I step in mud." "Exactly," Polly said, bouncing with excitement. Aunt Giggles had a trick. Every morning, she'd wake up and say, "Today's gonna be a comedy show, and I'm the star." Then she'd hunt for one silly thing to laugh at. One time, her cat knocked over a flour sack, and she looked like a ghost. Instead of yelling, she pretended to be a spooky baker and scared the mailman. He laughed so hard he gave her free stamps. Gus's lips twitched, but he caught himself. HMTH. Sounds like a waste of time. What if something really bad happens? Like when that squirrel stole my prize pumpkin last fall. Polly leaned closer, her eyes twinkling. Bad stuff happens. Gus, Aunt Giggles once lost her entire vegetable garden to a freak hailstorm. She was bummed, but then she saw the hailstones looked like tiny disco balls. So, she threw a disco veggie funeral party, invited the whole village, and danced in the mud. She said, "If life gives you hail, make it sparkle." Gus couldn't help it, he chuckled. "Just a tiny bit. Disco veggie funeral. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." "But it worked," Polly said, tossing him another donut for good measure. "Aunt Giggles taught me that laughing is like a superpower. You can't control the squirrels or the storms, but you can choose to see the silly side. Like, next time that squirrel steals your acorns, chase it with a broom and pretend you're in a ninja movie. You'll be laughing before you know it." Gus munched his donut, deep in thought. "Ninja movie? How? I could get a cape." Polly clapped her hands. "That's the spirit. Try it, Gus. Find one funny thing every day. I bet you'll be Chuckleburg's next giggle legend." Gus grumbled but decided to give it a shot. The next day, when his toast burned again, he drew a frowny face on it with jam and called it Toast Gus. He laughed so hard he startled the squirrel outside. The day after, when his socks didn't match, he wore them proudly and told everyone. He was starting a new fashion trend called sock chaos. The villagers howled with laughter and started wearing mismatched socks too. Word of Gus's new attitude spread like wildfire. Soon, Chuckleburg was bursting with Giggles. People threw burnt toast parties, held sock chaos parades, and even started a squirrel chasing club with capes. Of course, Gus, once the grumpiest guy in town, became the accidental king of comedy. All thanks to Polly's story about Aunt Giggles and a sprinkled donut. And so, Chuckleburg learned a goofy truth. Life's a bit like a squirrel stealing Your acorns, it's annoying, but if you chase it with a laugh and a cape, you'll have a story worth telling. Happiness isn't about perfect days. It's about finding the silly in the chaos and choosing to giggle, no matter what.